Hello, today is Monday, October 16th, 2023. To my right, as always, is my esteemed colleague and co-host Thomas Frey. In front of both of us and at our 11 o'clock is producer Rue. I'm Adam Hartog, and this is episode 26, the day of both of us were born in our respective months of the Breaks Down podcast, the flagship program of the 528 podcast network. We have a packed show today. We're going to be recapping a thrilling weekend of college football, a little bit of a letdown of an NFL weekend. We're going to talk about the NBA, a little preview because the season's coming up soon, do awards, and as usual, bold predictions of the year.
Of the week.
Let's get it. All right, awesome week of college football. I had been bombarding our group chat with texts about this Oregon-Washington game, I think for over 2 weeks. Almost all of them rightfully ignored because it was a little overkill. It was me forcing my excitement onto my friends, but this one certainly did not disappoint.
Forcing your excitement onto others has almost never worked. And again, it did not work. If anything, usually it sort of quells the excitement. I just wanted to use the word quell mostly because it came to me and, it's a great word. But yeah, I ended up not even watching the game after all the hype you've given. You've been begging me to watch Washington more. I watched the highlights. I'm always doing stuff at the time of the games, and it's just, I don't know. I missed a good one, though, clearly.
Well, what you have is what some in the sports business call a life.
Yeah, I do. I do more than some.
More than some on this podcast.
And we're not talking about producer Rue.
No. No, I got to hang out with him and his friends last night. It was fun.
You say that like you don't have friends of your own.
No, I just meant it's an example of life having.
Yes, I understand. But just you do have friends, so.
This was a titanic matchup, and generally titanic matchups like this in college don't disappoint. A lot of times I find that we have a highly anticipated Thursday, Sunday, or Monday night NFL game, and then it's a snooze fest. I think Washington should be the number one team in the country after another really impressive showing against the eighth-ranked team in the country. What was the eighth-ranked team in the country?
This is a genuine question. Would it be totally unprecedented to bump them up even into the top four when the top four teams all won so easily this week?
It's not unprecedented for a team to jump a top four undefeated team. It is unprecedented coming off when they're all coming off multi-score wins, but I think from the jump Washington has been ranked too low. It's not so much this win that makes me think they should go from 7-1. It's me thinking that they should have been in the top four this whole time and then just knocked off another top 10 team.
I think that's very fair. You've been pretty high on Washington all year. Honestly, I was surprised how low people were on Washington. They were awesome last year, and they returned a lot of their key pieces. So I don't know why they started off so low. But, yeah, huge win for them over Oregon.
Yeah, the quarterback and all their receivers came back from what was an explosive offense last year and is still the country's most explosive offense this year. I don't think Oregon should have dropped either. They went to 10, and I think a 3-point loss on a missed field goal on the road to who I consider to be the number one team in the country, I think they definitely should be higher ranked than Alabama and Texas, and I think they're higher ranked than Bama, but they're below Texas, which is ridiculous to me.
Seems like some just name brand bias, honestly.
I guess, but it's Oregon. It's not like Cincinnati or something like that.
True, but it doesn't have the cachet that a name like Alabama or even Texas does.
No, definitely not. They're sandwiched between Texas and North Carolina now. Alabama's down or is still at 11.
So at least they're still over Alabama, but I get the point.
Sure, you can't have them above the undefeated big ACC, Big 10, Big 12 teams like Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Penn State, but certainly over Texas, I think they should be ranked over. But realistically, the narrative leaving this game should be that both teams are fine.
I think even more so than that. Both teams are fine, but I think a big win like this does go a long way for Washington's reputation. So I feel like the narrative should be a little bit more than that for them.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly Washington more than fine because they won. But,
Exactly. Yeah.
But a loss would not have been catastrophic for either team.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
And then Dan Lanning's decision-making was another big talking point. They went for it on 4th and goal at the end of the first half. They went with a rollout to the right, did not convert there, did not score the touchdown, went into the half with no points. And then in the fourth quarter, with like 2 minutes left, they went from it on 4th and 2 from midfield, another rollout play to the left. Bo had a guy that he could have hit for a first down on that one. The first one wasn't his fault so much, but I totally agree with going for it in both situations. Less so the halftime one, and even he admitted after the game that he wishes they had gone in with at least 3 points there, but he took a lot of criticism for going for it towards the end of the game, and I think 1,000 times out of 1,000 that is the right decision.
You're only given a hard time when it doesn't work. It's very revisionist history.
And Washington's offense is Washington's offense. If you're a good football coach, you look at a situation like that and you think two very different things, but super important. You think, okay, this is the best offense in the country, and my defense is really good, but my better matchup is my offense against their defense.
It's like if you're the Dolphins, you're not hesitating about going for it on 4th and pretty much anything because you can get an explosive play at any time, just like Washington. But if you're the Panthers and it's 4th and 5, you should probably take the points when you can. Washington is a lot more like the Dolphins than they are the Panthers.
Yeah, and then the other thing he should be thinking in that situation is my goal to win individually every game? Yes, but this team has national championship expectations, and what is the best way to get to the playoffs or the conference championship and then the playoffs and then the national championship? It's to go out there and take these games against teams like Washington. Like, you go for it because you're like, we want to win a national championship, so do they. Somebody needs to win this game. Like, let's go out there and win the goddamn game now. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, you could punt it to them, but this is still the Washington offense that's going to march down the field probably with the ease that they did anyway. I think 100% you take that risk and try to end the game there. And even with that failed attempt, they still had a chance to send it to overtime with the field goal.
It's similar to, I can't remember what game we were talking about.
Arizona USC, where they didn't go for the 2 points. It's the same thing. It drives
exactly.
me nuts.
Thank God you read my mind. I was not getting there.
That's
exactly
why
the same thing.
I was so supportive of him going for it, because I was so vocal about how coaches need to do that.
Gotta have balls.
Yes, 100%. Anything else on this game? We're still unsure about the Washington quarterback's name.
No, it's Penix. There's no uncertainty here. There's no going back. Can't go back.
Okay. So if it's not, I'm going to have to own this.
Yeah.
But
you're going to have to own me mispronouncing it for the rest of your days.
Yes, but there is a chance that, and we talked about this off the record the other day, that
off the record.
This could be one of those situations where it just gets, because there's a select few announcers that are saying Penix, where it gets to the combine and someone asks him, like, hey, it's Penix, right? We hear some guys saying Penix, and he's like, nah, it's funny, actually. It's totally Penix, always been.
It was Penix when I was born. It's Penix now. It's not dissimilar to Devon Achane.
Yeah.
Downgrade for sure, but a lot of guys do that when they get to the league. They're just like, no, this is actually how you say it. You've all been wrong the whole time. And sometimes you go with it. Other times you don't, and you stick with what you've been calling him. It's happened where people just don't listen.
I mean, there's the whole Mookie fiasco.
Well, I don't even. Yeah, one of our friends exclusively calls him Mookie Betts, our most knowledgeable baseball expert.
Our guy,
baseball expert calls him Mookie Betts, and
swears that's, and I believe him.
He's probably right, but I cannot do it. I will never call him Mookie.
No, I could meet him. He could look me in the eye and say, hey, it's Mookie, and I would just look at him back and say, it's not.
But, like, it wasn't Mookie Blaylock. It was Mookie Blaylock. Like, there's been Mookies before. There'll be Mookies after, and there won't be Mookies.
You promise there'll be Mookies after?
I can't promise you that. I just can't, but I
There's
assume
still OJs.
there will
There's
be.
probably going to be Mookie's forever.
Yeah, that's true. Is that his... No. His real name's probably like Marcus or something.
Who?
Mookie. Is that his real name? I thought it... Producer
Rookie
Root.
check Mookie Mook's real name.
I think it can't be. It is... Okay, so...
So that was probably like his brother couldn't pronounce Marcus or something.
Yeah, but...
When he was like a baby.
Yeah, probably. It's like... I think...
Dabo is... It was
because
his
of that?
nickname is because his older brother was trying to say like that boy.
Oh.
It was like dat boy.
Okay. Dabo. All right.
That facial expression.
That's
is
cool,
exactly
I guess.
It, yeah.
Moving on to a less good game, I guess.
Yes, true. Which is what?
Number 21 Notre Dame versus number 10 USC.
This was domination. This was the worst game Caleb Williams has ever played in college. And I have a stat that is probably going to be divisive, or it's a combination of a stat and an opinion.
Lay it on me.
Caleb Williams has never beaten a good defense in college. 2021, Oklahoma State, best defense in the Big 12, lost to them. Last year, Utah, best defense in the Pac-12, lost to them twice. This year, Notre Dame, best defense in the cowardly independent conference, lost to them once in South Bend. 3 picks in front of the Bears GM, the Giants GM, the Bills GM for some reason, the Vikings GM.
Maybe they were there to see the receiver.
Maybe. Someone from the Pats was there.
That checks out.
That does. It wasn't Bill, so I don't know who it was.
Probably one of his many sons.
I guess, yeah. So, yeah, if you had told me that USC lost and allowed 48 points, I would have assumed that they put up 45 or something like that, and the Swiss cheese defense let them down again, but this was totally the offense not showing up.
I got nothing to refute him never beating a good defense. I think the talent is pretty unquestionable regardless. I don't think it's necessarily you knocking him. It's more so just an observation that happens to be true.
It's one of those
there's
things,
something like there might be something there, but it's
you know what it is? It's one of those things you see just like an objective, not objective, but like a statement on Twitter. There's no like, and this means,
yes,
and you're just like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah,
like, what are you trying to say?
And people start like arguing against it, and it's like, dude, this is a fact. It's it's the classic. I think it's like you tweet out I like pancakes and people start yelling at you like, hey, what about waffles? Yeah.
Or like Lemicky.
Lemicky.
No matter what you tweet, it's just like 0-10 in the finals.
This is one of those kind of tweets. But I will say that what makes Caleb Williams special is his ability to make plays off platform and off script that are just totally out of the game plan. And he's probably the best prospect that we've seen do this because Mahomes is the one who basically created this ability that they're looking for. So like it wasn't that this sought after trait with Mahomes. So it wasn't, the gold standard. Like it's what got Zach Wilson drafted, No,
it was almost more of a knock against Mahomes than anything.
But while Caleb Williams does do this, incredibly well and at an extremely high level, sometimes you need to be able to create when you're forced to stay within the pocket and within your offense, and you need to be able to go through your progressions and make a good play. It's not always going to be a special game-breaking play. Sometimes you got to take what the defense gives you, and I'm not saying it's not something he's incapable of doing, but good defenses force you to do that, and like you said, he hasn't beaten good defenses yet. So again, not a knock on him, but it's the first instance where you're forced to take pause and acknowledge it. That's all.
It happened in the NFL with Mahomes. At one point, he had already won an MVP, and defenses basically started saying, all right, beat us bit by bit. Like, we're going to not let you hit the home run ball all the time. Like, you got to, like, you're good enough to pick us apart, but, like...
You have to do it.
Yeah, and to an extent, it's like, does it bore you doing that? Like, are you even willing to sit there and do it, even if you're successful? Or are you going to go Josh Allen mode, which is something he's tuned down a lot, but like
Still does.
Josh Allen playing within the game plan, you could tell sometimes he's like, you know what, I'm just going to test this thing again.
I feel like NFL OCs and play calling and just how much information offenses have at their disposal is almost working to the quarterback's detriment, because pretty much it always, like, they have an idea of where to throw to. And I'm not saying they didn't always have this, but given what the alignment is and what their defense is, who's going to be open and when. So they're almost becoming like, I'm going to throw it here. Like, I saw Jalen Hurts stare down Dallas Goedert, and there were two defenders. He dropped in the zone right between two defenders.
Was that the last
pick? Yeah, he's staring at him the whole time. He sees the two defenders there. It's almost like a Madden interception. I feel like I'm seeing more and more interceptions that are like quarterbacks in rhythm throwing it because they're so confident this guy's going to be open that they're just throwing it. It's not like...
They're just going through the motions.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it feels, like they're going through the motions. Right? It's kind of true.
100%, yeah.
It's like getting lazy almost. Like mental lapses because it's too easy at times for some of these guys.
And it's funny you bring up Madden because I play a lot of Madden.
I threw 5 picks when I quit in 5 picks before I got here.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I recognize somebody that has thrown multiple interceptions and is forcing balls because they are frustrated. And that's exactly what Caleb Williams was doing at the end of the first half of that game.
It's like, I'm too good for this. Like, you can't... I'm just going to do it because you can't... No one's been able to stop me.
It's like, this isn't going to keep happening.
It's creating bad habits. It's like when the kid is, like, too good in playing against inferior competition, and then they get to the better competition, and they have all these bad habits, and they have to relearn things. Like, that's kind of how it is.
Jalen Green.
Jalen Green's a good example. Well, that's different, though, because it's more he has all these bad habits because his team is awful. He's still playing against good people.
True. Not in practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that Hurts, though, I'm pretty confident that is the worst play we will ever see from Jalen Hurts in his NFL career.
It was literally a Madden interception.
Yeah.
I've thrown that interception 100 times.
Where no matter what you see after you snap the ball, you've already made up your mind that you're throwing there.
I lean heavily on my tight ends, so yeah.
And then the other thing is, how sure are we that Lincoln Riley is a good coach? Because OU fans consider that the program took a step back each year under him, even though they kept pumping out Heisman winners, conference championships, and playoff appearance. We've talked about USC's Swiss cheese defense on this very show before and how it's going to show up again. I think we said it last episode. So
yeah, we've said it multiple times.
We're geniuses.
We said it before the season even started. So yeah, we were all over it. But I think part of what makes a really good coach is their ability to find really good people under them. It's why all these guys have the greats, have all this coaching tree of all these greats that followed after them. Like, there was the Belichick coaching tree, which actually wasn't so great after him. But there's the McVay and the Shanahan, and there's so many. And in college football, it's Saban. Like, he's had so many coordinators go on. I just think Lincoln Riley has pretty much genius-level offensive mind. I think that's safe to say. But I just think he hasn't found someone to lead that defense underneath him that he needs. Because we've seen it. OCs, DCs leave, and the whole team structure has changed even though the head coach is still in place just because the new guy's not any good. It's as simple as that a lot of the time. So am I sure he's an elite head coach? No, because he hasn't been able to fix his defense. But I think if he gets the right people underneath him, his offensive mind is so good that he will be.
So then, let me ask you another question, because Rue and I were debating this earlier. What are the parameters for Born on Third thought they hit a triple? Because Lincoln Riley had never been a head coach and inherited an Oklahoma team with Baker already there, but has maintained a level of conference dominance, at least, consistent playoff appearances, pumping out NFL players, has not won a playoff game, is paid like one of the gods of college football, is talked about in that ilk as well.
I think Born on Third thought they hit a triple is more about entitlement and less so about ability. I think you can be born on third and thought you hit a triple but still make it home.
But is it then born on third, everybody else turns on the TV at that moment and assumes you hit a triple?
Yes, I think that's more of what it is, honestly, because he's treated as though he's part of college football's elite when he hasn't done nearly as much as a lot of them. So,
like, he's no Urban Meyer, he's no Nick Saban, he's no Dabo, he's no...
No, but he's...
In terms of titles.
But he's treated with the same esteem, pretty much, as those guys when he shouldn't be. So, I guess the perspective has to do with that more so than his perspective of himself.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I wouldn't say he meets that criteria of the initial one, but the born on third, everyone turns on the TV right at that time and assumes you hit a dribble, that feels dead on.
Cool. All right. Glad we could come to an agreement on that. That's, I think, all I had on this game. This was surprising. USC was an underdog in the game, but like by 3 points, not 28.
Their defense is so awful that their offense needs to be stellar every single week, and this week it wasn't.
This game was over at 14-0 or 21-7, whatever it was, because this team is not built to come back.
If you can't get stops and you're not hot out of the gate, it's really tough to come back. So.
Yeah. So we've talked about Caleb Williams. We've talked about Michael Penix, the last guy remaining near the very top. Drake Mays, North Carolina Tar Heels. They beat the number 25, soon, actually probably now unranked, Miami Hurricanes 41-31 in Durham. Chapel Hill. Miami was leading at the half, but they had 4 bad drives, including 2 turnovers to start the second half, and the game was out of hand from there. Cristobal in Miami, he has the team moving in the right direction, certainly after a disastrous season last year, but this is the kind of loss that doesn't seem nearly as bad if you don't blow the game by not taking a knee at the end of last game, and if this is your only loss on the season, so the in-game decision-making is still holding them back on a whole season basis, portrait, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, bad decisions in one instant can snowball throughout the rest of the year. It could be the rest of one game, and then the rest of that game snowballs all the way until the rest of the year.
The rest of time sometimes.
Yeah, true. Or at the very least, the rest of someone's tenure. I don't want to say, forever, but yeah.
No, this game was cool.
I like Drake May. I think it's pretty crazy. I mean, North Carolina more so than Duke, but I think it's actually pretty crazy that they're slowly becoming football schools.
Yeah, North Carolina's a top 10 school now.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and it's cool that the May family is like North Carolina athletic royalty. Like Luke May, Drake's brother, hit that famous shot, I think to knock out the swipe of the Fox and Malik Monk Kentucky teams. Luke is going to be probably the best football player in North Carolina history off the top of my head.
Drake,
yes, my bad. I mean, obviously, there's another UNC number 10 quarterback that's very famous now. Jabril Peppers played there. That's fun. And basketball, which is nuts.
Jabril Peppers was on the basketball team?
I think so. 6'8".
I don't think, one.
No.
Julius
Peppers.
Okay. I was like, I didn't think Jabril Peppers went there.
No, he didn't. He went to Michigan.
That was me just like, you know more than me about this, so I was just letting you have it. And then once you said 6'8", I was like, is that even possible at that position?
I think he's like 5'11".
Yeah, dude. He was like, he returned punts and kicks. I was like, being 6'8". That's insane.
Julius Peppers.
Yes.
That's cool. Playing basketball at UNC and college football, very impressive.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, didn't Jimmy Graham do it for
Miami?
Yeah, that's cool too.
It's no UNC though.
It's no UNC.
Draymond, that's true.
Draymond played football?
Very, very briefly.
Oh, okay. I don't think we count that as much then.
No.
Was at Michigan State.
All right, we'll give him credit.
Yeah, I mean, probably football, basketball combination, if Draymond was like legit on those teams, Michigan State takes it over Miami and playing for under Izzo and like.
But does it take it over Miami?
Not. I mean, it's a bad year because Michigan State's very, very bad this year.
Have they ever won a natty in football?
No, but they've been in the college football playoff. So in the last 9 years, they competed for.
I think that one's
title.
close. I think that one's close. Actually, remind me about this tomorrow, and I want to put a poll up.
Okay.
I'd actually be curious to see what the results are on this one.
I actually saw kind of a similar-ish argument that is not ours, so I can't take credit for it, but it's what schools, football, basketball, baseball, Big Three, compares to Auburn of Chuck, Bo Jackson, and somebody else.
Okay. I'd have to. I don't know anything about baseball, so it's maybe LSU. I don't know about. Yeah, definitely LSU. They're a good one. They got Shaq. Depending on, you could go Pistol Pete, you could go Shaq, you could go. They just had 2 first-round picks this year, and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I guess.
So yeah, Joe Burrow, Shaq, and one of those first-rounders might compete if you could find the answer.
Frank Thomas.
Oh, no one.
Nobody, right?
No.
Especially if you're in the market for Nugenics.
Now that it's well, you actually texted Nugenics that one time.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. They responded quickly.
All right, producer Roo said Draymond only appeared in the spring game, which at some schools that draws like sold out crowds. It's freaking insane.
Yeah, but if he played horribly, I don't know if I give him the credit.
Definitely not. I was random stupid fun fact.
Okay, that's all I got on college football.
Actually, me too.
Yeah, you want to move on to regular football?
Yes,
otherwise known as NFL football.
Yeah, so for NFL this week, we're going to do things a little differently because we're going to have a lot of basketball stuff too. So we're going to kind of lump it in with housekeeping, and we're still going to stick with the usual topics, but Tom and I pooled our brains together, so collectively we have some intelligence in there, and we picked storylines and disappointments/surprises together. So do you want to kick things off?
Yeah, our storyline is that there are no undefeated teams left. The 72 Dolphins probably frothing at the mouth watching these games.
I think confirmed popped bottles. Larry Zonka sent a tweet like...
Oh, so there you go.
Yeah.
I was dead on.
The 72 Dolphins popping champagne is one of those things that just like happens every year, and I get like a little annoyed for no reason.
Me too.
There's not many things in sports that I like really don't care at all about.
Yeah.
But that's one of them.
I think I care less about it because of how annoying they are about it.
I would like the record to be broken so that I never have to hear about it again.
Yeah, because they're annoying about it. It's like a very meaningful record. It is.
It would be more meaningful if it was not 16-0
True,
or whatever
true.
it is.
Yeah, if the
they
schedule
don't
was as
have
long.
the most wins in a single season record. That's still
the
the
Patriots.
New England,
Yeah, it's like the Warriors. They didn't win the championship in their year, so it doesn't matter. Just like New England's doesn't matter. But Michael Jordan's 72-10 and a championship does matter. So this Dolphins record does matter, but they're annoying about it, so I don't like it anymore. That's what it is.
There's a famous photo of the Bulls warming up before one of the finals games, and they all had shirts that said 72-10 don't mean a thing without a ring.
Yeah. Mike McDaniels was asked, he's like, you guys have the best offense through 5 games in like history or something like that. He was like, you know what? This is what when we set out in training camp, this was the goal we were trying to accomplish, and we did it. It's just like very funny.
He's
hilarious,
yeah.
Dude. He's great.
I heard him described on a podcast as if the internet had made a football coach and just like popped him out.
Yes, but I think he's funnier than the internet would create.
I'll allow that.
Because I'm imagining generic Redditor head coach, and that's not him. He's like very good, funny Twitter account head coach.
Yeah, true.
But as for the games themselves, I guess we'll just talk 49ers and Eagles for our storylines.
Yeah, sure.
The 49ers, I'll start there. Let me just start off by saying that if I ever have George Kittle on one of my fantasy teams again,
kill you?
Just kill me.
Okay.
Going into this year, I knew I couldn't stand having him. And it was one of those auction drafts. It was such a good deal at the time. I just had to do it. And I have been unhappy every second since, including his 3 touchdown game.
Why were you unhappy then?
Because you knew that this game was going to come after it. You knew exactly that he was going to do this because he is I hate him on my team with every fiber of my being, and there's no one that would want to trade for him. That I'm stuck with him, and he's too good to cut. So I'm just stuck starting this guy every week. I cannot stand it. I've put myself in this spot. So that's first and foremost. George Kittle's the most frustrating person in the entire world. Second, on actual sports analysis, this was the first game we've really seen Purdy struggle in his pro career. There was a lot of factors that went into this. First is the rain and the weather was clearly getting to him because his accuracy was off, which is the opposite of what he's been throughout his entire career. Second, obviously, Trent Williams looked hobbled, didn't look like himself. I think he gave up 2 sacks or 3 pressures on the final drive, which is they were on what's his face? D-end for the Browns.
Garrett.
Yeah, Garrett. What's his fucking first name?
Myles
Garrett. I kept going Jason Garrett. I couldn't get Jason Garrett out of my head.
Last point on college football.
Okay.
The USC Notre Dame broadcast was Collinsworth's kid and Jason Garrett.
Bad.
And it was the worst.
That's a tough tandem.
Of all, and it was not just them. The quality, the whole game was fucked up. It was muffled the entire game.
I actually like Collinsworth's kid. I think he's pretty good, but he's not as good as his dad. But he's so young. 30 years from now, he might be.
You know what? Legitimately, I will say this is I will label this as crazy.
Okay.
Listening to him, he obviously sounds exactly like his dad, but he talks exactly like Al Michaels. Obviously, he's a play-by-play guy. He grew up listening to his dad and Al Michaels. Michaels is the play-by-play guy.
So his style is Al Michaels, but his voice is his dad.
Yes.
Okay, I gotta listen to it.
Dude, it's like you will totally know what I'm talking about. I promise.
Yeah.
Like the way Al Michaels says players' names, hauled in by whoever, and it's like Chris Collinsworth pretending to be Al Michaels.
Yeah, Chris Collinsworth doing his best Al Michaels impression.
Yes.
That's funny. Back to Myles Garrett, 3 pressures, Trent Williams hobbled. Yeah. CMC hurt, Debo hurt. So a lot of factors working against Purdy.
No coincidence, probably, that he had his worst game with all those guys out.
Yes. But for all the people quick to hop on the "see we were right about Purdy" thing, he's not actually good. I couldn't.
That's wrong.
The Browns defense is actually one of the greatest defenses we've probably ever seen. They've given up through 5 games 1,002 yards, which is the 3rd fewest since the merger in 1970.
50 years ago.
Yes, and the only teams to allow fewer are teams from 1970 and 1971. So in the modern era, this is unheard of what they're doing. And Jim Schwartz, your guy, Jim Schwartz.
Jim Schwartz, yeah.
Yeah. 9-1 in his career against Shanahan.
Right, that goes back to 08, right?
Yeah, pretty crazy.
I saw your 1,000-yard stat, and for context, the 1985 Chicago Bears, widely considered the best defense of all time, allowed, and I actually typed this wrong here, so I'm glad I remembered, 1,707 yards through 5 games.
So 700 more yards.
Yes.
Greatest defense of all time.
That's 3.5 games, extra games of yards.
That's
based
insane,
on what the Browns are averaging.
And no one's imagine if the Browns offense was any good, if Deshaun was any good and healthy.
That's the crazy thing is the Browns know what they do well.
Yeah.
And they do it well when they do it.
Yeah.
Which is play defense and run the ball really well. And then they decided to throw in a $230 million quarterback in there, so sometimes they feel like they can't play like that because they're paying this guy so much to not play like that. But when they do it well, they're tough to beat.
Yeah, they are. But I still think the Niners should have won this game. Moody missed 2 field goals in the game, including a 41-yarder with 6 seconds left. He's a rookie, so I kind of felt it coming. I don't know It could just be like a little bit of confirmation bias, like, oh, yeah, I must have thought it in the moment. But I definitely felt it coming, especially because I have him in fantasy and I needed the points. So it was one of those, like, this guy's going to miss this. And he did. But the people, the naysayers, the Purdy haters, if they had won this game, the Niners had won this game, the narrative would be, damn, that Brock Purdy finds a way to win. Even at his worst, down 3 guys, finds a way to win. But they lose, so now it's Purdy exposed without top talent. Like, that's what the narrative has become, and that's so dumb. So, the guy is still good. The Niners are still awesome. A tough loss against an amazing defense.
San Francisco's still a white trash Purdy.
Nice. I don't think I've heard that one.
No, I'm pretty sure that's an original.
Okay.
All right, so the other undefeated team to fall this weekend was the Philadelphia Eagles, losing at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford to the New Jersey Football Jets 20-14. Obviously, the New York Football Jets, and nobody even calls them that. That's more of like a Giants thing that's like fans say on the radio sometimes to be like antagonistic. Anyway.
It's very true. It's always about the Giants.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
The reason why for the Giants more than the Jets is honestly because the Giants have more enemies. And that's solely why.
And the Giants have more enemies because they've been better.
And also just like people don't care about the Jets that much. Like there's been maps.
But that's why.
There's been maps of NFL fandoms, like every county in the US by fandom. And
Jets
like,
don't have one?
Jets don't have a single county.
That's tough. That's tough. But
there could be one in like Utah now. This was before Zach Wilson.
I will say, to Jets fans' credit, while there may not be the most of them, they're very passionate, and when games are good, MetLife is pretty electric, so I do give them credit for that.
Yeah, no, they're loyal as hell.
Great. It's a strong fan base. They annoy the hell out of me. But I give them credit.
That's honestly why it's so fun to poke the bear.
Yeah, because they're so annoying. It sucks because my brother's a Jets fan. Most of our best friends are Jets fans.
It's kind of like if the Bears ever get good, I expect most of my friends to truly despise me.
But if you weren't you, I wouldn't despise you for it.
What do you mean?
You are insufferable when your team is good.
Yeah.
I am not.
No.
So I understand why people wouldn't root against me, but I would root against you, and it's why I root against our Jets fans friends and my brother, because you guys are annoying when your teams are good.
No, that's what I'm saying. I would expect if my team was good that everyone would hate me.
But when my teams are good, I mind my own business.
No, again, I think it ties back to the having a life thing.
No, I don't know. I would say that downplays my passion, though. I'm not saying you don't care. Yeah, but it's not a lack of passion. You
just don't make it your personality like I do.
Yeah, but neither do all Jets fans. It's not that it's their personality. It's their you just make everything you're interested in your personality. That's just who you are. That's not a bad thing. The way Jets, unless the Bears are good, then that's another story. But Jets fans are
life.
I know. But I've gotten a taste of it a couple times. And yes. But when the Jets are good, even when they're not good, this is our year, and we're going to take every single shot at Giants fans we can all the time. And when the Jets are bad, I make fun of them because they do that to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't make fun of the Jets. Just like Mets fans. Mets fans are so annoying. It's like, why do I got to see LGM everywhere? It's like, we get it. You're a Mets fan.
You exist.
Congrats for being 1 of 10. Like, but it's just so annoying. The Knicks are, in terms of competitiveness, I would say pretty similar to the Jets and Mets in that they've been a joke for a long time. But Knicks fans aren't. No, Knicks fans are pretty bad.
Knicks fans are bad. Knicks
fans are bad. I'm a part of one of the fan bases. Damn it.
You're also a Yankee fan.
I don't think Yankee fans are that bad. Yankee fans are the meanest to the Yankees. That annoys me. I would say most of the time people are poking the Yankees and Yankees fans more
That's
so than
fair.
they're seeking it out. But no one hates their team more than Yankees fans.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Sorry. How did we get here? But the Eagles lost to the Jets. Oh, yeah, the New
Jets.
Jersey Jets. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
All right. So, this Jets defense, a true championship caliber unit. Not many of them, those exist league-wide at any given time. A very finite amount. How could they possibly be this good? Like, I understand they're incredible, but like consistent career bad days against Josh Allen, Mahomes throwing inexplicable interceptions that he never throws, Jalen Hurts making some of the worst plays of his entire career. You know what I'm saying? Like, how could they, like, this is like video game level good, like when you're playing on Rookie.
So this also ties into our surprise, was the Jets defense being as good as they are. So
Yeah.
we'll just mesh them together. But so in 3 games against Josh Allen, Mahomes, and Hurts, none of them has finished with a passer rating above 64, and they've combined thrown 3 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And I think there's 2 fumbles mixed in there. Not sure whose fumbles they were. So their defense is as good as it gets, pretty much.
Was this passer rating or QBR?
That was passer rating.
For context, average passer rating league-wide, at least by 2020, 93.6.
Yeah. So not just well below average, like awful games. Like
Orders of magnitude worse.
yes. And every time I watch the Jets play, all I can think about is how it's a shame that Zach Wilson's their quarterback. That's all I can think about. And he managed a fine game. Truly did. Didn't turn the ball over. Had a nice pass on that 2-point conversion that I gave him credit for in our group chat to our Jets fans. So, whatever. But he's just not good. He's still the 31st ranked starter in the NFL. The only one I'm putting lower than him is Ritter, because Ritter's awful. But
yeah, you don't get praised for winning a game, I mean, or just for having a game where you throw for 180 yards and no
picks.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, unless you have a defense that good that wins you the game.
Exactly. The defense won them that game. And
I actually, like, with all respect to the Jets defense, I gave them their praise first because I knew I was going to say this. I think the Eagles lost that game. They have 4 turnovers. Teams that lose the turnover battle 4-0 lose 95% of the time, actually slightly more than that. And it's little sloppy turnovers, like the one where they didn't protect Hurts and his arm got slapped, the pick that Goddard didn't catch, the one you talked about earlier, which was one of the worst plays of his entire football career, of his life, I would say.
Probably.
The Swift fumble. So little turnovers like that are like uncharacteristic things that build up, I think cost them the game. And even still, when they had 3 bad turnovers and they still had a chance to win the game before Hurts threw that last pick.
I agree with you, but I think it works both ways. I think the Eagles did lose that game, but I also think the Jets defense won them that game. I just think the Jets offense did nothing to win them that game. You know what I mean?
I do.
So, again, you did give the Jets defense their flowers, but I feel like they've repeatedly put these quarterbacks into these positions to play poorly. So I guess I'm just giving them a little bit more credit and taking some away from the Eagles, because their offense hasn't been what it was last year.
Totally.
They've had a lot of turnover, which we've talked about a lot. They've had a lot of injuries, but I mean, everyone has injuries at this point. It is what it is. But Jalen Hurts has more picks now than he had all of last year.
Yeah.
He, again, the Madden interception, the last play of the game, he held onto the ball too long on that deep shot. If he'd thrown it earlier, it's probably a completion and it probably seals the game. He did not play well. So I guess, yeah, they lost themselves the game. It goes both ways. I think the Jets defense played well enough to put them in that position for the Eagles to lose the game.
Yeah, totally
Yeah.
can't argue with that. It's just kind of like after the Bills game, it was the Jets defense was awesome, and then after the Chiefs game, it was like, wow, they totally shut down Mahomes, and then after this, it's like, yes, they're incredible, but like, how can they be this much better than any defense ever?
Okay.
Against these quarterbacks.
Yeah. So, I would say they are very, very good. Their defense, like we've said. And I would say there has to be some level of coincidence that these quarterbacks are not at the top of their game on those days. Those Mahomes interceptions were inexplicable.
They look like different people.
Yeah.
Like all of those games. I mean, less so the Bills because we've kind of seen Allen do that at times. But like watching the Chiefs game and the Eagles game, it's like this can't possibly be Mahomes. Like, there's no way this is the Jalen Hurts that was there last year.
Honestly, I would say the most was Mahomes. I literally said it looked like he was high out there.
Yeah.
It did not look like the same guy. Those picks were inexplicable is the only word I can come up with. So, while giving them all their flowers, it's almost impossible to make probably the 3 best quarterbacks in the league, arguably, depending on Burrow, make them look bad. All 3 of them. It's almost impossible. So that's why it probably has to go hand in hand with some level of coincidence or luck or something that's factoring in. Or the MetLife turf, I don't know.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I'm on the same page as you, but I also think... No, I'm totally on the same page as you. I think the Jets defense is playing amazing, but I think these quarterbacks are also not playing as well as they could in these games.
Yeah, it's not like... It's not a Mahomes against the Bucks kind of thing.
No.
Where he was like all they had was coming from him.
Yes.
And nobody else.
Where literally guys fully horizontal, doing everything he can out there. No, it's not like that. It's not like pressures in it. Those picks were unexplainable. They don't make any sense.
No.
Total
outliers in a whole career's body of work.
Yes. We've never seen him do anything like that before, and he did it twice in one game. The Jets defense didn't force him to do that.
Yeah.
I think so. While giving them their flowers, some of it's luck.
Yeah, I think it has to be.
But if Rodgers is on this team, they might be undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's pretty wild that the Pats' only win is against this team.
Yeah, that's what. If Rodgers is on this team, they could very well be 5-1 or undefeated.
Yeah,
they're good.
Yeah, very good.
And that's also the point is like, yes. Zach Wilson is no longer losing these games single-handedly. Good for him. That is growth for him, and it might keep him in the league for a little while. However, he's still not winning you a single game, and he's not going to put you in a position to win many.
I mean, look at Brock Purdy. Like, yes, the offensive line is also better in San Francisco, but if somebody is surrounded by talent, if they're good, they're gonna win.
Yes,
and they're gonna be part of the reason you win.
Like as bad as Purdy played yesterday, they still almost beat, like we said, one of the best defenses we've ever seen. So
you could say the same thing about Hurts.
Yeah, true. Except, I could. You're right.
Don't know why I made that point. It just similarities came to mind.
Yeah, no, I have no argument to it. It's a very good argument. Both very good teams. Both still the 2 best teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. You use the word luck, and I think I agree with that to an extent for both these losses, or just misfortune more so than like these teams are now.
Yeah, I think
consistently.
So, not to get too off track, but I think I have been chalking up a lot of the Bills' performances to circumstances, and I think now that you are right, and that I was also right at the beginning, and then I for some reason changed my tune. But the Bills are a flawed team and have been this whole time, and all of a sudden I stopped believing that when that was the whole point I had coming into this year, and I don't know what happened.
The Miami game probably.
I guess so. I just really drank the Kool-Aid after that game, but I've had these thoughts all along, and I just totally changed.
I've been in your ear a lot, pumping the brakes on some of their losses too.
But last loss, you were the opposite. I was arguing on their behalf. I have thought the Bills were a flawed team forever. And you're right. It must be that Miami game.
Yeah.
got me drunk on Finn's losses.
On wing sauce.
Wait, why?
Buffalo.
Okay. Speaking of bad quarterbacks like Zach Wilson, on to our disappointment.
Yeah. So the disappointment of the week is Desmond Ridder is totally holding the Atlanta Falcons back. They are currently 2-3.
3-3.
3-3. They had another terrible loss. His first loss actually at home in college or the NFL.
So since high school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Long time.
Unless he did a PG year and lost.
That's fair. I can't speak to that.
But he had 2 bad interceptions in the fourth quarter. One in the end zone, and they cut to Arthur Smith legitimately in disbelief on the sideline. Like, there's certain situations where you see somebody and you know that they are doing everything they can to comprehend and believe what's going on, but they just can't do it. And that was immediately, like, you see that guy and you're like, disbelief. I know that look.
Respect for Arthur Smith for maintaining his composure in that moment as well as he did and not just totally
snapping the surface.
Yeah. Yeah. And showing up his quarterback, I do give him credit for that. But yeah, dude, Ridder is really, really bad. The Falcons now lost 3 of 4. They're averaging 9.6 points per game in those losses. Ritter's thrown 5 picks in his last 3 games, and many of them are just questionable at best, I would say. Not NFL caliber interceptions. So like the Jalen Hurts one that we said was the worst of his entire career.
It's an average Ridder interception.
Exactly. They're all like, what on earth did... Well, actually, no. Worst interception of the week, Mac Jones. I just need to say.
Yeah.
One of the worst throws I've ever seen in my entire life, but not to get too off track, but yeah. So I think their defense is awesome, and their skill positions are unbelievable, and Ridder is unquestionably holding them back.
Yeah, and it's a winnable division. It's not
Extremely.
like they're a young team in a tough division hoping to like take the top spot one day.
They're not the Texans.
No, they're not.
I still think the Texans could win their division.
Could.
Could.
I'm a big Jacksonville guy. I could, yes.
Could. Not saying will. Could.
Okay.
I also have money on it, so.
Okay, well, in that case, I hope they win the division.
Yeah.
I have no money on Jacksonville.
Neither do I. So, all in on Stroudsville.
H-Town. But no, like, yeah, winnable division, the kind of division where you risk losing the locker room if you hold on to a quarterback that is keeping your entire roster back.
How do you justify keeping him in?
You can't. I don't think you can at this point.
It's not like the Jets had their backup was Tim Boyle. Like, you can explain keeping Zach Wilson in when your backup behind him is Tim Boyle. When your backup is Taylor Heineke, who's won a lot of football games and has shown that he can win games the exact way they need to, you can't explain it at a certain point. You absolutely can lose the locker room when you're doing stuff like this. The guy's actively bad. It's tough to, like I said, credit to Zach Wilson. No longer actively bad, but Ridder's actively bad. Should be taken out. Should be benched.
I mean, essentially the disappointment is the whole entire football watching audience can see that this guy is bad. And like you said, it's tough to be actively bad because oftentimes if you're bad, you're not even put in the position to be actively bad. So the fact that he's actively bad with this kind of efficiency is alarming.
I feel like I've seen more quarterbacks play this year than like ever before. I swear, like who's the Tyson Bagent? Division II quarterback for the... So, riddle me this. How's that guy on a team? How's Tyson Bagent on a team, but Carson Wentz can't sniff a practice squad until the Giants scooped him up?
I don't know how he got on the team. I just know he was a ball of energy in preseason.
He beat out P.J. Walker.
Yeah.
Who won the Browns the game this week.
True. Yeah. Didn't even mention that. I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cut by the Bears.
Cut by the Bears for Tyson Bagent, who... I'm not saying he's horrible because he actually got better the more he was in.
No, he's bad.
You know he has the most touchdown passes in college football history.
No way.
Yeah,
I did
more
not know
than
that.
Keenum, more than Kellen Moore. Yeah,
More than the Hawaii guy.
Colt Brennan.
Yes, nice. Good pull.
Yeah, more than Colt Brennan. But he's again Division II, but more than them. I think it was like
Football's
100.
finest.
I think it was like 196 or something in 4 years. Something ridiculous.
nuts.
Something insane.
Huh.
So, but either way, like that guy's on a team. It's
Yeah.
crazy who is making rosters and getting into games, and like some guys have like incredible college football careers and you never hear from them again. I don't know. Just a
Like
weird
Colin
thought.
Klein, yeah.
Yeah, just like you're much more willing to give a guy like Tyson, Bagent? I was gonna say Nugent, Ted Nugent, a first chance before you give another guy a second chance.
Well, actually, you know what? This is interesting because I was thinking about how with the new transfer portal rules, there's probably going to be a lot more guys that will eventually make it to the NFL because they were not super highly recruited out of high school, but then developed once they got to college and then had the chance to play like big time college football and get noticed.
It's very true. Usually it's basketball, but you always hear about guys from X area who were better than Y NBA player who made it out of there, and the guy just, circumstances dictated that he went to JUCO, failed out, yada yada yada, whatever.
Exactly that, yeah.
Like, there's going to be a lot more like Cam Newton type of stories than ever before.
A lot less like I could have made it.
Yeah, people will have a lot more opportunities to go play at big programs and get seen, and yeah,
Look at the NCAA doing something right.
Yeah.
It took them
forever.
a century.
It's about time. Yeah.
Then we have 2 NFL games to watch for next week. Do you want to do the first one? Talk about that?
I don't have it in front of me, so you give it to me. 'Cause
Okay.
I forgot what I said.
First one is Eagles and Dolphins.
Oh, yeah, that's a good game.
I don't remember where that is. I think the biggest thing to watch for in this is that the Eagles obviously will
Dolphins at Eagles.
at Eagles. So in the link, Eagles obviously coming off that loss to the Jets, so they're going to be wanting to get back in the win column. But their defensive secondary is totally banged up. They had 2 corners leave the game yesterday, including Bradley Roby, who was signed off the streets to be their number 1 guy. Their their safeties, they came into the season already thin at the position, and because of injuries, that's been worn even thinner. So I really have truly no idea how they're going to stop Miami's passing attack in this game.
Yeah, and they were the healthiest team in football last year, so
Then yeah,
the turnaround is pretty wild.
we've definitely talked about before that injury luck does not carry over.
Oh, no, not at all. It's the same thing as one-score game wins.
Yeah.
There's no correlation between years. The second game is Chargers-Chiefs. That's just a really fun game. 2 of the game's best and most exciting quarterbacks facing off against each other. It's at Arrowhead. Obviously Mike Williams is down, but Eckler is back for the Chargers. That's some more firepower for them. So that'll be a fun game.
It's kind of insane that we get to see that twice a year because they're division rivals.
I know, and they're both just so much fun. Even more so than Mahomes. There's something about the way Justin Herbert throws the football. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, I think. It's like him and Rodgers, where the way they complete passes is just like, it's a thing of beauty almost. You know what I mean? I know you, not to give Rodgers credit because I know you don't want to do that, but just Herbert specifically, like, has he ever not thrown a perfect spiral?
Probably not.
I don't know if I've ever seen it. It is a wonder that this guy was getting knocked coming into the NFL. It's like,
I did. I knocked him.
he shouldn't have gone back to college that year. Should have been a Giant. Pisses me off. If he was on the Giants, dude, maybe then I'd be insufferable. Maybe then.
Well, I mean, yeah.
He'd be so much fun, dude.
It's lucky for everybody that knows me, I guess, that the Bears don't have Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, it is unbelievably lucky, dude.
They would have 2 Super Bowls.
He also would have flamed out by now. The Bears would have ruined him.
Not with that defense they had back then, but
That's true.
Probably.
He wouldn't have been able to throw the left side of the field by now.
So, one more thing on football. Last week I told you that I would give you a ranking of the quarterbacks that I would take over Dak
Okay.
I have not only that, but I have some research into Dak's recent struggles and some theories behind why that's the case. If you will allow me to go on a solo, do a solo, I guess.
Sure.
Okay, so Dak Prescott. Strengths. He's very intelligent. I've seen a video of him taking us down through the play clock and going through everything that he processes before it gets from, let's say, 35 when they line up to like 5. And he's trusted and has been for years with changing things like adjustments at the line based on the what the looks that the defense is giving him. He gets through all his reads, and the above combination means that the opportunities for the defense to cheat without getting torched are few and far between. The offense undeniably struggling this year. I can't say that isn't true. Kellen Moore was replaced last year, fired after last season as the offensive coordinator. Mike McCarthy has taken over play calling duties and has shifted to a much heavier focus on the short passing game. Now remember, Dak led the NFL in interceptions in 2022, and this was supposed to help eliminate that, but it does not mean that he was a turnover machine. He has thrown an interception on 2% of his career throws, which is 9th best all time. If we dig into the 2022 numbers a little more, PFF's measure of turnover-worthy plays, Dak was 13th. 88% of those turnover-worthy plays turned into turnovers, which is higher than the league average of 77%. On plays that did not end in an interception, Dak was 4th in EPA per dropback, behind only Mahomes, Allen, and Tua. This year, though, his numbers are down. Yards per attempt, EPA per play, QBR, and success rate are all down. Why? I think because the play calling sucks on rundowns, which is first down or second and medium. His completion percentage is almost 71%, and his on-target throw rate is 5th in the league. But on those plays, he is only 20th in yards per play and EPA per play. 35.7% of those plays have a negative EPA, which is 4th worst in the league. So despite Dak being really successful on those, the kind of play calling that they're running is not leading to good offensive results for the team. This is exactly what Mike McCarthy went through before in Green Bay. And now that I've gotten through all that, my list of quarterbacks that I would rather have over Dak Prescott right now, Patrick Mahomes is 1. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, CJ Stroud, and then I have Dak.
So was that 12?
That is 10.
10?
I have him ahead of Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford.
I think you're wrong on both of those. What about Lamar? You said Lamar?
6.
Kirk?
Lower than everybody on this list.
I mean, otherwise, it's not like he's kind of just in that middle of the pack. I'd probably put Kirk over him, but you said Purdy?
No.
I'd put Purdy over him.
I wouldn't yet. I think Dak on this Niners team would light the league on fire.
I think Dak on this Niners team would do exactly what Purdy's doing.
I think Dak's right now better than Purdy.
Well, after Purdy's worst game of his career, it's a lot easier to say.
But I did this before the weekend.
Yeah, but you blamed a lot of it on play calling.
Yes.
When Dak's been a perma-choker in his entire career, and he's been in one of the best situations to succeed forever and has never won anything.
Well, he's won a lot of games, though.
Okay, but does anyone care?
No.
About
I do. I mean, I
winning
don't care
regular
that the
season
Cowboys
games.
Wins.
Winning regular season games doesn't matter, though. Ultimately,
I'm not saying he's ever going to be good enough to win a Super Bowl.
No, but I'm saying these other quarterbacks who you would take, like Stafford has won a Super Bowl, and we've seen him in a good go from a bad situation where he was excelling to a good situation and excelling and winning a Super Bowl.
Well, part of it, the Stafford thing is age.
Are we talking about building a future team around?
Just like quarterbacks I'd want like right now.
Given their short passing attack, yeah, I'd want Dak over Stafford because that wouldn't be utilizing any of his strengths.
Well, I don't think it's utilizing Dak's either.
Yeah. So, but I would still take Stafford over Dak. I think Stafford's a way better quarterback than Dak.
I generally agree with that, but
I think and Goff's been, again, I hated Goff, but he's been pretty much an MVP caliber quarterback for the last year and a half.
Yeah, it was tough to leave Goff out of the top 10.
Given what we've seen Goff do with the Lions, you kind of can't tell me that he wouldn't do better on the Cowboys than Dak. It's like Dak has had...
I would agree with that because of the way they play.
Dak has had solid to good numbers throughout his whole career. He's been a solid to good quarterback throughout his whole career. But he's... If you want to put him... I mean, I'm putting him probably 12th or 13th. You're putting him 10th. So I don't think we're very far off. But I think that everyone within pretty much that 10 to 14, 15 range, if put on the Cowboys, could do as well, if not better, than Dak.
I just think it's been a long time since we've seen Dak in a situation designed for his strengths, and really the only glimpse of it we got was last year, and they immediately went away from that because he threw a lot of picks, but generally those interceptions were not indicative of a struggling offense. It was a combination of bad luck and the turnover-worthy plays being above league average.
But sorry to interrupt, but I'm not saying that they were wrong to change the play style. I think going away from Kellen Moore was stupid. He's clearly a good OC, and Mike McCarthy's took one of the top offenses in football and turned them into a bottom 10 unit. Like, that's... I don't put that on Dak. I don't even blame him for their struggles. I'm saying, given their offensive line and their weapons throughout his career prior to this year, I think he is a pretty easily replaceable quarterback. I mean, Cooper Rush was kind of tearing it up last year for them. And I think you could say the same. I think you could very legitimately make the same argument about Purdy and other 49ers quarterbacks. I think when guys are put into those situations, those questions are fair.
But with those situations, the coaching wasn't an issue. It was like very much to their benefit. Dak has been fighting against poor coaching. So like situationally, roster-wise, I agree. But it's like
their scheme last year was to his strengths, though.
Yeah, and then it was working, and then they got spooked by the interception numbers, so they went back to a totally different style.
Yeah, but again, now you're talking about this new style versus that old style. I'm saying even in that old style, when it was catered more to his strengths, I think I would take other quarterbacks over him.
I would too, but
I think him and Kirk Cousins in terms of talent are very similar. Kirk's the closest one to it because Kirk can't win in primetime. But like I've seen Purdy win in primetime. I've seen him win with a good system. If you put Purdy right now into last year's Cowboys offense with their O-line and their weapons and their Kellen Moore scheme, I think Purdy would do very, very similar to what Dak did. I'm not saying he's awful. I think what he does is replaceable. And given his propensity to choke, there are a lot of... I think genuinely, talent-wise, I genuinely believe this. If Daniel Jones was on the Cowboys and forget this year, coming out of last year before his internal clock got messed up, I think he would be just as good as Dak, if not better.
I disagree with that because, one thing, you guys have both told me that Daniel Jones struggles with, adjustments at the line of scrimmage and stuff like that, which Dak is really good at.
This year more than... He was good last year. This year he's been bad. But also, he's got an entire new... everything has worked against Daniel Jones this year. That's why I threw out this year entirely. But yes, he's not as good pre-snap as Dak. That's fair.
And I think getting through his reads, there's not many quarterbacks that are as good as Dak either.
No, but I think, again, Daniel Jones is too dumb to feel pressure. He's like Eli, where I don't think the moment gets to him because he's just dumb like that. Dak probably got through his progressions better than Eli did, but you couldn't pay me all King Midas's silver to take Dak over Eli. Dak's talent, which I'm not saying he's not talented. He could be great pre-snap. He's got, he used to be more mobile. He's not really anymore. I just think he's replaceable. which I feel like in the past, when it was quarterback 10 through 14, no name, you agreed. But now that it's Dak, you're disagreeing. Even though
I'm not saying he's not replaceable.
I think his name is you are defending him based more on name than anything else.
No, I gave the numbers.
Yeah, but you gave me a lot of pretty numbers that meant a lot of things, but all of it was to say that his bad coaching this year has held him back.
Well, it's more like he isn't really the problem. Like, he's a good quarterback and he's showing it, but he's being misused.
But I have at no point said, aside from in the clutch, that he holds them back. In clutch moments, he has a propensity to fail.
Yeah, but I thought this whole thing came because last week you said he was bad.
Well, bad is, if I said he was bad, I was being I was exaggerating probably a little bit.
Okay, well, I still had fun.
I think he's, I don't think he's bad. I just think he's replaceable. I think, even like Geno Smith. Like, I don't think Geno's very good, but I think if you put Geno on the Cowboys, he'd do a lot of what Dak does.
There's days where I think Geno's better than Dak.
Yeah, and I don't think Geno's that good.
I'd say he's a top 14 quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think that's that good.
No, it's not.
But I also would have Jared Goff squarely over Dak.
Like, I can't really argue against that.
Like, if you have got, like, who'd you have 9?
Stroud.
Okay. I would probably say after Goff, right after Stroud. I'd probably put Goff over Stroud still. So let's say Stroud. Anything after that
gets blurry.
It's just, like, not that good. Like, if you have any quarterback after that, you kind of want someone else.
Yeah.
That's how, if you're in the either kind of want someone else or we need a new quarterback camp, you're not that good.
Fair.
That's where my head is at.
All right. Fair enough.
Let's get into the meat. How do you want to start this up?
So, for this one, what Rue and I
Producer ruin you?
What Tom and I decided for our basketball preview, we are going to talk about we're going to do award preview, finals preview. We're going to talk about who we think is going to be in the conference finals, right? Did I miss anything?
Sleeper team and
Yes.
something we're excited for.
Yes.
You did a finals preview?
I have who I think is going to be in the finals.
I don't have it planned, but I have my conference finals, so I can take it from there.
I did conference finals, and then I did finals MVP, envisioning what the matchup was going to be.
Okay, sure. Let's start with our award predictions.
Okay.
All right, so I'll give my MVP prediction. It's pretty boring, but I'm going with Jokic.
Okay.
I have my other candidates here that I have I'll just go through the whole spiel.
Can I quickly interject and say that mine is also Jokic?
Okay, yeah. It's not a sexy pick, but he's got, elite stats and impact paired with a top team in the league. Arguably should have won MVP last year, but didn't because it was Embiid's quote-unquote turn. He's the best player in the league.
In the world, yeah.
In the world, yeah. I have no problem. Yeah, in the league, which
Same
equals
exact
in the
thing.
world. Yeah.
It's more fun to say.
Yes, I have no issues saying that. If he is healthy and producing, he's going to win MVP. Every prediction is obviously barring health, so I'm not going to keep making that caveat. My other candidates, I actually think Giannis is also a very serious contender, and he would probably be my second pick, if not. Luka's probably second in odds, I assume, because they always put him there, but I just don't think the Mavericks are going to be good enough. And I don't know, I really didn't like watching Luka play last year. He looked like he took a step back as a playmaker, and he became like a really bad ball stopper and then wasn't getting back at all on defense, and it's like really bad, like developing some really bad habits. So I don't think Luka's going to be in the discussion, really. I just don't think the Mavericks are good enough. I think sneaky pick is LeBron.
For MVP?
Yeah. I've made it clear many times, not a LeBron fan really at all. Bordering on LeBron hater. I just am an MJ guy. It is what it is. But LeBron's stats are always up there. I think the Lakers are going to be really, really good this year. And if he plays the 60 plus games required to be eligible for awards, and puts up his efficient 27, 7-7.
The LeBron.
Yeah, like I have no reason to believe he won't be in the discussion, especially if something happens to Jokic, or the Nuggets have like another injury and something happens and they fall down. Like, anything is possible. So LeBron's consistent play paired with, I think, the Lakers' regular season success, I think makes him like a very, very sneaky contender. Plus, he was in the discussion last year before his injury. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. And then sleeper pick, SGA.
Oh, damn it. That's mine.
Oh, well, that's your sleeper pick for MVP?
Yeah.
I mean, he averaged 35 last year, something like that? 33?
31.4.
Yeah.
With 5 rebounds, 5.5 assists.
If the Thunder are a top 4 seed in the West, which is going to be very hard to do, I see him absolutely getting MVP votes. It's Jokic's award to lose. There are other avenues for other people to win it. KD is probably, I think he's probably done winning MVPs, honestly. I think there's a lot of mouths to feed on the Suns. Tatum, I think, has the same issue. There's only one ball to go around, and he goes through his random, stretches where he's the worst shooter in the NBA.
JT?
Yeah. And, I mean, Holiday's not a high, I need the ball in my hands all the time guy, but him and Porzingis are going to get theirs, and I do think that definitely cuts into Tatum's usage, at least to some extent. So, I don't know. I just don't see it. I like him. I think he's awesome, and I think he could win one, but I just don't think it's this year. And I think that's pretty much it.
No, I agree. I mean, I have Jokic, too. Dark horse, also SGA, and Tatum is, I think, my favorite player in the NBA. So, I have a soft spot for him, but I agree that I don't think the performance is going to be consistently dominant enough throughout the whole season to garner MVP votes. That inconsistency where you mentioned, I think, is going to keep him from that.
I also think the talent on his team actually hinders him. The fact that there are so many scoring options on that team, one, obviously, like I said, lowers his usage, but also it works against you in an MVP race because you're not carrying your team. Luka's always second in odds because of how much, it's Luka's going to lead the team to a championship. Or yes, there's plenty of talent on the Nuggets, but it's not, Jamal Murray's awesome, but he's never made an all-star team. Aaron Gordon, very good player, never made an all-star team. Jokic is that team. LeBron was those teams. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my counterpoint was going to be like LeBron on the Heatles, Steph on the Warriors, but those are situations where the talent surrounding him did not really eat into the metrics and the numbers. So it's situationally can play out in different ways.
Yes.
It's totally possible that it's so crowded that the numbers reflect that.
Yeah, that's what I mean by his usage being lower. But I also just think those teams, the LeBron Heat and the Steph Warriors, those teams were far and away the best teams in the league. I think the Celtics are going to be very good, one of the top teams, but I don't think they're going to win 65 games. You know what
True.
That. It's either you win in an obscene amount of games and your team is the best team in the league, or you put up absolutely ridiculous stats and you're a top 4 seed.
Yeah.
Or you're Russell Westbrook and you average a triple-double for the first time ever. That's how you do it.
My last point on the MVP, part of the reason I picked Jokic is because I think that from time to time we've seen situations where somebody deserves to win MVP and then they don't, and then they have a really good season the next year and they win it. The first example that comes to mind is Harden, who I will always think should have won MVP over Russ when Russ averaged a triple-double, and then I think Harden had a worse season than he did that year or the year after, but still won MVP. And I think we're both in agreement that Jokic should have won the MVP last year and would have if he wanted it. And we could see just whoops. Sorry.
It's the narrative switch. It's when it's when it's someone's turn. That's always what it is.
Yeah.
Or there's voter fatigue, or in last year's case, some combination of the two. But yeah.
The next one I have is Defensive Player of the Year. Does that work?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
wait, can I guess yours? I think I know what it is.
Yeah.
Evan Mobley.
No.
Oh, okay.
I am a big Evan Mobley guy, though.
Yeah, you are. Okay.
I think I picked him last year.
You did.
No, it's Giannis.
Come on, Ed.
What? Same
it's
thing?
Mine too, yeah.
Last season, defensive rating 107.7. He is a dominant force at both ends of the ball, and yeah, that's all I have. Huh.
He's already won it before. He's clearly an impact defender. I think with Drew gone, swapping in Dame for Drew, not only does that take some of the weight off of his shoulders offensively, but it also forces him to have to do more defensively. I also think having 2 Defensive Player of the Year candidates on both sides of you hinders your chances at winning. So I think that's why his metrics and everything and his effort level on that side of the ball took a step back last year because he had Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday. I will say I think the next up is probably Evan Mobley. He came in 3rd last year. He defended the 3rd most shots on the year and held opponents to a 47.1 shooting percentage from the field, which is just very, very low. Oh, I also think another one is Bam. I think Bam arguably could have won it over Marcus Smart 2 years ago. So I think he could be a sleeper pick here. So yeah, I would say Bam, Mobley, and Giannis would be my 3 picks.
Yeah, I guess if I were to go sleeper, I didn't actually have one for this, but
neither did I. I just thought of it.
You kind of called mine. I probably would have gone Mobley too.
Another sleeper, because we're here, Drew Holiday. Speaking of this guy's turn, I have a weird feeling that could be the narrative push this year for him, Defensive Player of the Year. He's been quietly, the players say he's probably the best defensive player in the league, and I'm just saying it could be a narrative that sneaks up because he's going to be on one of the best defensive teams in the league. So best defender on the best defensive team also carries weight.
It's what won Marcus Smart the award.
Exactly.
What do you have next?
I'll do 6 man. My pick is Quickly. I think he should have won it last year. He didn't win it because the narrative was that he started too many games, which helped his stats, but the job of the 6th man is to fill in holes wherever applicable. So just because he did it at such a high level, therefore he shouldn't win 6th man, I think that's really stupid. He impacts the game on both sides of the ball at a very, very high level. He's very clearly starter caliber. Speaking of his turn, I think it's his turn. I think he should have won it last year. I think he'll win it this year.
I had a different pick for 6th man of the year last year.
Who'd you pick last year, Brogdon?
Yeah, I had Brogdon when we did our awards preview. But it's hard to disagree that Quickly was deserving of the award last year. Like you said, the played too much is ridiculous. All right, so my 6th man of the year, I promised you would be...
I'm expecting fireworks
surprised. Here. Okay, so this one I have somebody who I thought my days of giving them preseason awards was long over. I have Brody. And this is...
Why?
Because this is a world where I envision the Clippers making moves for guards into the season because things aren't going the way that they anticipate. So he gets forced to more of like a utility guy off the bench that can do a little bit of everything. As a Clipper last year, averaged 16, 5, and 7.5 on just under 50% shooting. Took 3 threes a game, so I'm kind of penciling him for one ill-advised Brody 3 off the bench. But I totally think you could be looking at a 24 and 5 or 6 player off the bench. And if the Clippers actually acquire enough talent to bump him into that kind of role, they're probably going to win 57 games. And I think a player like that off the bench, especially because of the name recognition, is going to be in the conversation if this crazy unwinding hypothetical happens.
In your magical hypothetical world, I understand your logic. I think the days of Russ averaging 20 plus a game are over.
Maybe.
I still think if he averages 17, 6, and 6 as a 6th man for a very good Clippers team in your hypothetical, yeah, he would be in the discussion, and I think he could definitely win it. Yeah, you're projecting a lot of things to happen for that to happen, so I can't argue it, but...
I'm going to be wrong no matter who I pick, so I might as well swing for the fences.
Yeah, that's fair, and if you're right, we can look back on this, and yeah.
It's all if.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of if. You want a Rookie of the Year or Coach of the Year?
Let's do... I mean, do you have somebody besides Wemby for Rookie of the Year?
I was very close to giving it to Scoot. It's a very guard-friendly award, typically. It doesn't go to big men often. But... And Scoot has the keys, and he's got the NBA-ready body, and he's been in the G League for 2 years. Like, he is going to put up probably the stats to win it. But Wemby is just... If he plays the requisite amount of games, his impact offensively and defensively is so unbelievable. Like, watching this guy play is like watching a 2K creative player. Like, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, we're talking about a guy that could average 4 points per game and will still be realistically probably a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he's probably going to average 2 to 3 blocks a game and 20-plus points a game. Like, that's not even unreasonable. I think that's totally doable. So I just think that's hard to overcome. So I think that the biggest one there is health. The other one is Chet. He's sleeper, but of Scoot, Wemby, and then now Chet, I think Chet will probably have the most impact on winning because his team will be the best. And he's just...
He fills
square peg, square hole on in perfect.
Yeah,
he fits perfectly in that lineup. So I think that would be the only thing to his benefit. But the only time that's ever won someone the award was Malcolm Brogdon, and that was because all the other candidates were so bad. So it's not usual. But I guess my coach of the year is Mark Daignault. I still don't know how to say his name. I don't know if I'll ever learn at this point. Daignault, whatever. I think he should have had more of a chance last year, but Kings coach Mike Brown did things with the Kings. They had like one of the best offenses literally ever, and they went from out of the playoffs to a top 4 seed, 3 seed.
They're 3.
So he deserves the award, but I just think Daignault, however you say his name, I think the Thunder are poised for a leap, and I don't know how big the leap's going to be, but the way you win this award is either you top of the standings or you're on a team that goes from okay to very good or bad to good. You have to take some sort of leap, or you need to be the best team in the league. I think it'll be some sort of leap for them.
I think it's pronounced Louisville.
I don't think it's pronounced that way, and I'm not going to say it. Even if it was pronounced that way, I'd still call him Daignault.
Even if there was a fire.
Even if there's a fire. Mark Daignault.
My coach of the year, so you said something very interesting. It's either you take a team that was bad to good or some other variation of a big leap that was kind of unexpected. In this case, I actually think we both think the Thunder are going to be better, but it's still... situation applies. The other one you mentioned was the coach of the best team in the league. I have Adrian Griffin winning this, the new Bucks coach. What?
My iPad died.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Not indicative of Adrian Griffin at all.
No, not at all. Okay.
I think the Bucks are going to be the number 1 seed in the East. I think Giannis is going to, I don't want to say reestablish himself as a top 2 guy in the NBA, because I think we both are pretty confident that it's exactly what he is. But I think a lot of the focus has been on guys like Jokic, Embiid, Jimmy Butler even recently, obviously the guys in Phoenix. And I think with a new coach, Damian Lillard next to him, like you said, what's his face?
Brooke Lopez?
Drew Holiday not being there is going to totally reinvent the way that they play. And I think all of that combined is going to at least earn Adrian Griffin a nomination for Coach of the Year, even though it's his first season as head coach there.
That's a good pick. I think Mike Malone will also be in the discussion.
Will probably win the most games this year.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, Spo has never won it.
That's kind of crazy. He's the best coach in the league.
There was a slight pause before you said it, but you meant it. He is the best. He's the best coach in the league.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's really that close.
No.
I think it's him and then everyone else, but this is kind of just my theory on coaching. There's not that big of a difference between a bad coach and an okay coach in the NBA. And there's not that big of a difference between an okay coach and a good coach. But there's between good and bad, there's still some variance there. but between good and great, there's a huge difference. That's how so it's great, good, okay, bad. So bad and great, super far apart.
What about good, great, grand, wonderful?
Not really applicable here, but yes.
Billy Madison.
Yes, I know. Totally just disregarding my theory, but...
No, I mean, great is taking an 8 seed to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, yes, but the rest of it is in general.
Nobody maximizes their talent in the NBA the way the Heat do.
Actively do.
Does?
Heat I
what
think
that
it's
Heat
actually... Hold on. I think it's...
Nobody does it better than the blank does.
I think it's Heat do. I think it's Heat do.
Okay. Nobody does it better than the Heat do. That
No,
sounds right.
I think it's actually... I think it's technically does, but I think the way everyone uses it is do.
Okay.
Because it's one entity. Like, you wouldn't say... Like, it's technically supposed to be the Yankees does, because the Yankees isn't plural. It's not multiple Yankees. It's just
one organization.
One organization. So, yeah.
The Heat does.
Yeah.
All right,
but
anyway.
But no one says that.
No, yeah, and nobody else. No, also, nobody is taking guys like. I mean, he's bad now, but Duncan Robinson turning into critical pieces for a finals run. Gabe Vincent turning him into like prize free agents. That's Spoelstra.
Yeah. Max Strus too.
Yes.
Yeah. The problem is, before these two, they always paid these guys. Tyler Johnson, Deion Waiters, the most feared player in the NBA, James Johnson, that's who it is. He's not even on a team right now. They do the players poll of like who's the player you'd least want to get into a fight with. I think he got like 56% of the vote. Guy's a free agent. I think he's a black belt.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, iPad died again. So, all right. Do you want to move on to our conference?
Oh, I got some more awards.
Oh, we do?
Actually, yeah.
What other awards are there? Comeback Player of the Year?
No, I have Most Improved Player.
Oh, I forgot about Most Improved. All right, while my iPad turns on, you tell me yours.
Okay, mine is Jabari Smith Jr.
Okay.
I really liked him coming out of Auburn, and from what he's shown I think in MVP. Do they do MVP the preseason? They do, right? I think he won it.
They do it of Summer League. I don't know.
That's what I meant.
Oh,
Summer
yeah,
League.
they do it.
I think he won
They
MVP
do like
of Summer
all
League.
NBA. They do all Summer League first and second teams, and I believe they do MVPs. So he probably won it. If not, if he didn't win it, he was on all Summer League.
Yeah, and I think the Rockets are going to be pretty bad still, but I think that he's a really good wing player. He plays great defense, and with Ime there, I think his talents are really going to be featured and utilized. And he's certainly not going to make the kind of jump that someone like Lauri Markkanen did in terms of scoring, but I think his game is going to improve a lot and demonstrate why he's a crucial piece to that rebuild going forward.
I like that pick. I don't love how they decide Most Improved Player 90% of the time.
Which is scoring average?
It is scoring average, but I like that Lauri Markkanen won it. I think he deserved it. I hate that, like, did Ja win it? Or was he
Yes, Ja
Yeah,
won it.
I
Ja
hate
won
that Ja won it. That's really dumb.
We disagreed on, I thought SGA should win it last year.
Yeah, see, I don't think SGA should have won it last year. I think if you're like an all-star player and you just become a better all-star player, I don't think that should win you Most Improved. Like when Goran Dragic went from like 8 points a game to like 18 and was an all-star or like borderline all-star and won it, like that's the essence of the award to me.
So it should be like an is now good award.
Pretty much, yeah.
More than like how much.
More like when
you could still improve a ton even if you were good. You could still improve the most.
You can, but I don't know. To me,
it's disagreeing with the spirit of the award.
I just don't think I don't think the spirit of the award is good player becoming very good. My iPad's
it's not
very much done.
Biggest jump. It's...
No. So which is also I think a very obvious winner of it is Mikal Bridges. When he went from the Suns to the Nets, his scoring average went up like 8 points, but his on the season average was only like 20 because it was balanced out. He's probably going to average like 25, 26 points a game this year, and like that's probably going to win him it. But if it were me, I wouldn't give him that award. Like Julius Randle went from a good bench scorer to all NBA. Like, he deserved that award in my eyes. So I would rather it go to someone like that, like Jordan Poole, for example. Like, he's going to go from averaging, I don't even know I can't even look it up, 13, 14 points a game last year off the bench. Like, he could average 26 a game this year, 24 a game this year. He won't be the most efficient player, but neither was Markkanen, and he was on a bad team too. Like, I could see Jordan Poole winning it. So that'll be my pick instead of McCall Bridges.
JP?
Yeah.
Do you want to go on to conference finals?
Yeah, I know who my picks are, but I had so much reasoning, so I'm bummed out I can't use any of it. My picks in the East are pretty boring. We've talked about them a lot, but it's the Celtics and the Bucks. I think they're pretty easily the two best teams in the East.
You want to know something shocking?
You didn't pick them?
No, mine are exactly the same.
Oh. So not shocking at all. I didn't understand your sarcasm.
No. I don't really see how you could look at these teams and think talent-wise anybody else in the East is comparable.
I'll just try to remember my bullets. It's pretty much like the Cavs, the Heat, the Knicks. I believe they're the next up. I could be forgetting someone because it's not in front of me anymore, but
I got the finals odds up. In the East, the favorites for the championship: Celtics, Bucks, Cavs, Sixers, Heat, Knicks.
Yeah, so the Sixers, Sixers are not that good.
I don't look at any of these teams and think they're on par with the other two.
No, it's not even close. The Knicks are still a piece away and a Julius Randle subtraction away. The Sixers not that good.
And imploding.
The Cavs are okay, but they're just okay. They have a weirdly built roster. They have like 2 centers together and 2 point guards together. It's just like, it's a strange fit. And like Max Strus helps their lineup cohesion because Okoro can't shoot at all, and they were starting him just because they had to. He was the only wing they had, and Karis LeVert's not a good fit with those guys. So Strus helps that fit, but again, they're just not that good. Similar tiers of the Knicks as we saw in the playoffs. And the Heat are not that good in the regular season. And they're replacing like a lot of role player depth. Like we said, Gabe Vincent and Max Strus aren't world beaters, but they were very important to that team. And like even Oladipo played important regular season minutes. So I don't know. They're gonna be asking a lot out of now I know how to say his name, Jaime Jaquez. I think I learned that on the pod.
Jaquez.
He's gonna probably play some really important minutes. Maybe like Nikola Jovic, who played well in the summer. Just tough to replace all those minutes, and they're just not as good in the they're not going to win as many games. They're not as good in the regular season.
And I don't think they're going to repeat the kind of playoff success they had last year.
They did the year before though.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't know. They have the clear coaching advantage in every single matchup. And that has clearly been enough to get them over the hump the last couple of years, get over the talent disparity, and Jimmy Butler is I don't know where he is in the NBA. Top 10. Yeah, it's top 10, but like I'm not happy about it. It still feels disrespectful, but it also feels disrespectful to some other guys. So I don't know. But yeah, those are the two best teams, Bucks, Celtics, unquestionably. I got my iPad back on. So let's go to the West quick.
Okay.
West.
Ooh.
You want to go first?
Yes, for the West, I have the Nuggets and the Suns.
Okay. That
was quickly.
I didn't mean you had to speak quickly.
No, it's the same thing. Like the West is way deeper. Like the Warriors are probably going to be very competitive late. There's a world where the Clippers are. The Lakers still have 2 of the top 15 players in the NBA.
Probably. You want to hear something crazy?
Yes, always.
I have in the conference finals the Nuggets and the Lakers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
all right, cool.
So we do disagree.
Nice.
I think the Suns are right there. But I think the Lakers are very quietly, almost maybe just as talented as the Suns and the Nuggets. They have on their team, it's LeBron, AD, D'Lo, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, Taurean Prince, Jackson Hayes, and their first-round pick, Jalen Hood-Schifino. That's 11 guys that are all, at the very least, legitimate NBA contributors. The biggest issue the Lakers had was maintaining any level of competence when LeBron or AD had to come out of the game or if they got hurt. They have so much depth now that they've rebuilt on the fly. I mean, they made it to the conference finals last year. I know LeBron is getting older and AD's always an injury risk, but they have, and again, not a LeBron guy, but he wins games and they have a really good and deep team. And the Suns, while they've rebuilt a lot of their depth on the fly, Bradley Beal and KD get hurt an awful lot.
That's true.
And again, I get it. I just said that I just excused AD's injuries, but I said the Suns are right there. I knew you were going to pick the Suns, so I picked the Lakers because I genuinely think they are neck and neck.
I guess part of what it comes down to for me is you're saying in 8 months, who do I have more confidence is going to be on the court? It's not anyone on the Lakers. It's not AD.
AD always plays in the playoffs.
Always?
Pretty much. He's usually healthy come playoff time.
Well, I guess what happens if he get the other times where he gets hurt and they don't even get there?
They have enough depth to cover it this year. Usually they don't.
I guess I'm never going to feel good about AD's health, even if he's stayed healthy in the playoffs in the past.
The way you win a championship in the NBA is you have top-level talent. First and foremost, you have stars and superstars. Second is you have really good depth. You don't need stars everywhere. You need really good depth. That's what wins championships. Or you need high-end depth, like the Warriors where they had 8, 9 guys, not 10. The Lakers potentially have 11. And I'm not saying Austin Reeves is a third star or anything like that. I think he's a very good player and a great complementary piece for them. And I actually really liked how he looked with Team USA, and I think he's better than I ever thought he would be. But the Lakers have top-end talent, and they have great depth. That's how you win championships.
I don't disagree with that. I also think that I don't think that's the only way to win championships. I think we've seen that there's worlds where teams that are loaded with firepower are just too much to overcome for other teams.
Like?
I don't think the 2020 Lakers were nearly as deep as some of the other teams they played. Like even the Nuggets that year.
The 2020 Lakers had a lot of key depth on their team. They had Dwight, they had JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo was playing key minutes on that team. They had Kuzma, was an awesome wing player. KCP was awesome for that team. They had J.R. Smith off the bench. They had depth.
They had low-level depth.
Yeah, I said you need a lot of depth. Danny Green played a lot of minutes for that team. Avery Bradley was pretty good.
But that's not
Alex Caruso.
That's not the kind of depth that the Lakers have now where it's like big guys miss time and you're okay depth. That's not what that is.
No, but it's depth nonetheless.
Yeah, but this is the kind of depth we're talking about them having now is, like you said, like some guy goes out for an extended period of time and they can cover for that.
Yeah, but LeBron and AD aren't the players they were in 2019, 2020.
True.
So you need higher end depth.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that.
So what are you disagreeing with?
I'm just saying, like, we've seen situations like that where you have super high-end players and, like, more complementary pieces than depth, I think.
But I didn't say you need second-tier stars backing them up. I just said you need high-end talent and you need depth, which is which you just proved, but which that team has.
I'm just saying, like, we could see a team like that come around with, like, low-level depth but too much firepower at the top.
But it's not low-level depth, though. They had really key role players playing very important roles. Like, just because they're not Christian Wood, who's a high-end scorer. Like, Dwight Howard was averaging, like, 14 rebounds in, like, 12 minutes for that team. Like, Rajon Rondo was the facilitator they needed. Alex Caruso was one of the best defenders in the NBA. Like, they had key depth, what they needed. Like, the Warriors, they had Sean Livingston coming in off the bench and doing totally different things than Steph did. Andre Iguodala was a 6th Man of the Year candidate for them. Like, Kevon Looney at the time, different, but same thing, big man depth. Like, you have guys in key spots. That's what you need. Christian Brown for the Nuggets last year. Is he a great elite player? No, but he was good depth for the team. Like, you need bench players. You need depth. And in the Lakers' case, when you have injury-prone guys, you need players who can step in and cover for them throughout the season so you can accumulate wins and get a higher seed.
I guess what it comes down to is still just like
high-end talent and depth.
No, just like I'm like we've seen too many times where like an injury derails the Lakers' entire season, and I'm just like, until we could revisit this in the start of the playoffs and I'll have a different pick, but until then I'm not going to pencil them in for one of the 4 remaining teams because they need to.
But they were last year.
I know they stayed healthy. Like that's what I'm saying. If they show again, if we get there and they're healthy again, which has become on the rarer side for them.
But then you could say the same for the Suns.
Yeah, true. I mean, I kind of did say, like, who am I picking to be healthier at critical moments?
But again, I'm not saying I'm anti-Suns. I said they're neck and neck. I said the Lakers have the key composition of a championship team. And you've done nothing to refute that point other than saying they're going to get hurt.
No, I mean, I was just saying I picked the Suns because I have more confidence in them not.
I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just saying
that was what I was saying, or at least that's what I started saying.
But then you started saying there's the recipe I provided is not the recipe.
No, I wasn't trying to say that. I was just saying we've seen situations where a team built like that has lost to a team that just had too much firepower. I'm not saying that's not. I wasn't disagreeing that that's like the most like efficient or best way to win.
Okay. I understand what happened here. I'm not saying the team with the most depth wins, or that the team, like, I'm not saying the Lakers are better than the Suns because they have more depth. I'm saying that to win a championship, you need superstars and key role players, otherwise known as depth. The Suns also have that. I think the Suns are also good. But generally speaking, the teams that have the championship recipe, I would say, are the 5 we've mentioned thus far, and probably that's probably it. Like the Warriors, if depending on the level that Clay and Draymond are this year. But that's about it. No one else has the level, and probably the Clippers, actually, if they can stay healthy. Those are the only few teams that have the high level of star talent and requisite role players required to win. Like the Sixers have high level star talent, but they have no depth. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was like almost exclusively talking about Phoenix.
Okay. And sorry,
because that was the only spot we differed.
And the inverse, is the Knicks. All depth. And like 2 all NBA players, but not the highest end all NBA players. So
yeah, the Knicks have built like the 49ers, or not. That's not true.
No, it's more like, I don't even know.
Is it maybe like the Seahawks before like
the Seahawks is a good one. Even right now.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah, Seahawks is good. They just have like a lot of talent everywhere, but like no superstars.
Yeah. No elevators in the building.
Yeah.
And then NBA Finals MVP, I have Jokic.
I didn't do it, but yeah, that's who I would pick. The Nuggets are really, really good.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Me too, I think.
Sleeper team.
Yeah, okay. Sleeper. Probably the same as you. It's Oklahoma City.
No.
Nice, cool. I'm glad about that, actually. I feel bad about saying it, but I do think there's a world where they're a top 3 or 4 seed in the West. And I think they have, we know they have an all-NBA point guard, a guy who totally could compete for an MVP. They have potentially one of the best defensive centers in the league. They have really good wings in the Williams. I really like Giddey. I think he's an awesome piece. And even, I think they have some solid players off the bench. Like Poku is somebody we were big on coming into the league. He's been a little bit of a disappointment. But I think if he's forced into a very specialized role, it could be great for him. Lou Dort coming off the bench is somebody that we know what he can do, and when utilized well, he does it really well. I think there's a world where they can win 50-plus games, and I think that qualifies them as a sleeper team.
So I didn't pick them, and I have it written here in my bullet. Wanted to say the Thunder because they're so fun and young, but I think too many people think too highly of them for them to be a sleeper, so I picked the Pelicans.
Okay.
They feel like a real sleeper to me. I just think like the Thunder, like I think they're poised for that leap. we haven't really gotten to see Zion in a couple years, and we've kind of forgotten how good he is. He's a top 10 player, at least, when he's on. And I think Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum are both really good. They got Valanciunas, who's all right. Trey Murphy, people think, could be like the next big thing, like an all-star, high-end all-star caliber talent. Herb Williams, super valuable 3-and-D guy. Like, if they can stay healthy, like, they're going to win a lot of games.
Don't forget, there was a world, like, I don't think the start of last. Was it the start of last year?
I looked this up. It wasn't last year.
It was the year before, where people were like, "Holy shit, this is like."
Yeah, they were like 9-1 or something to start the year. Yeah. They were.
There was a world where people were like, "This is the team."
Yeah, they were really good, and we just haven't gotten to see them do that since. So, yeah, they're my sleeper team. I just think they're going to, if they are healthy, they are a playoff team. Health is the biggest hurdle for that team. They've got a lot of injury-prone guys. Even like Jose Alvarado is a really good role player now.
I forgot his name. I was trying to think of it. I like him.
Like, he's a guy you want on your team. He's a guy you hate playing against, which are great role players, those kind of guys. So, Pelicans are my sleeper team. Something I'm excited for is just the Knicks being back on TV. Giants and the Yankees were really, really bad. Mostly, Yankees were regular bad. Giants might be worst team in football bad.
Huh.
Okay, maybe not that bad, but competing for worst overall pick kind of bad. So that's tough. With the Knicks, I know what I'm getting out of them. They're probably not going to win any championships, but they're going to win a lot of games. They'll probably be a top 4 or 5 seed in the East. And you know what? That's enough for me right now. I think they're a piece away, and I just pray to all of the basketball gods that they get the right piece this time for the right price. They've been here before. They were here with Amari, where they were a piece away. Granted, Amari's health failed them later on, but they should have never traded for Melo. They should have signed him as a free agent, but he wanted his money. They gave up way too much for Melo. They gave up everything they had. And then what happened? Melo had nothing around him. They had no depth whatsoever. It was Melo, JR, Tyson Chandler. And that's when we had guys like Chris Copeland and Steve Novak and Tony Douglas and the second iteration of Raymond Felton and Pablo Prigioni, and we had brought.
Did you say JR?
I said JR. I think I said him. I think I said him first. We had Roni Turioff starting games. It was who was it? Not Pablo Prigioni. I just said him. I can't remember who I'm thinking of. Like Shumpert playing key moments. That's not who I'm. Rasheed Wallace. Brought Rasheed Wallace out of retirement. Kurt Thomas.
Right off the couch.
Yeah. We just imputed him. Like, that's why. So the Knicks just, like, if you're going to go trade, hypothetically, let's say for Joel Embiid, and you give up RJ Quickly, Grimes, 5 picks, and Mitchell Robinson, like, that sucks. That really sucks. You took away everything fun about this team and sold out for an all-star. So I just pray that the basketball gods treat me right for once and give the Knicks the right guy at the right time. Jalen Brunson is the right guy at the right time. They need one more. One more. That's all I'm asking for. And ideally in that move, Julius Randle goes.
I mean, that kind of has to happen to make the salaries match.
It doesn't, though. If you give RJ and Mitch the salaries match.
He's on a huge contract now.
It's not huge. 20 million.
I guess not huge, but I consider $100 million to be huge, but I guess that's falling behind NBA timelines.
Less than Tyler Hero.
True, yeah.
So that's enough for me.
Barely more than Duncan Robinson.
Yeah. So big.
But yes. I consider Tyler Hero to be on a really big contract too. I guess there's a huge difference between really big and huge.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right, so my thing that I'm excited for is another team that plays in the Eastern Conference, and it's one that I am not a fan of in the slightest, but it's to watch the Orlando Magic again.
They're so weird.
They are. I mean, look, nobody has as much of everything, I think, as the Magic, but look, Paolo is one of my favorite young players in the NBA, and there's going to be a lot of like wacky, entertaining lineups that they're going to throw out there. Again, if everyone's healthy, like they just brought in Anthony Black, the guard from Arkansas, Jet Howard, Juwan's son, 2 first-round guards they drafted. They still obviously have Fultz, they have Suggs, At forward alone, they have Paolo, they have Isaac, they have Franz Wagner
and Mo Wagner.
Yeah, I think Moses. I guess they both can play forward and center. So I have no idea how they're going to piece this all together, but they're huge, they're young, and honestly, they were really entertaining last year. Paolo is going to be the guy there going forward, and he certainly has the looks of somebody that can be a first-team All-NBA guy one day. Maybe not if there's still a huge logjam at forward like there has been for the last decade and a half, but they're a cool team. It's Wednesday night, and I have no idea what to do. Let me throw on League Pass and watch the Magic for a bit and switch around when I get bored.
Magic are a good League Pass team.
Yeah.
They've needed to consolidate talent for like 3 years now, and they haven't done it.
They just keep adding on. I feel like they're playing with double the roster size.
It's unbelievable, dude. And I don't even think... Did you say Cole Anthony?
No, I forgot him.
Yeah. That's like they have so many guys.
Yeah.
They need to move guys. They have 4-5 guards that need playing time. It's insane. They finally got rid of Mo Bamba. Thank God. Like it's insane. I people think really highly. I actually do too of Franz Wagner. I think
he's awesome.
I think him and Banchero are like two. Like they're nailed
guys.
Those draft picks. Like those are two of your guys forever kind of guys. So if they could just consolidate their talent and upgrade a little bit, like they're really good. They just haven't been able to do it. They just such weird roster construction for so many years.
It was for years like just keep drafting the same positions until something hits.
It's like let's just it was even beyond that. It was like let's just draft the longest motherfuckers we can and see if they pan out. Like let's just draft Mo Bamba, Bol, Wendell Carter Jr. Jonathan Isaac and just see what happens and put them all out there.
Let's just do it.
They still have Jonathan Isaac.
They do, yeah.
I forgot about him. You did. I may not have even registered who he is.
Yeah.
He was so good.
He was, also on a huge deal, potential
getting paid.
Yeah, he was good. He was one of the better impact defensive guys in the league.
Yeah, couldn't stay healthy, but that's a good one. That's a fun one.
All right, awards.
Yes, let's do it. All right, I'm gonna start it off because I don't want to do our normal back and forth. My first award is the "Dad, You're Embarrassing Me" award.
Okay. Is this one going to... I have no idea.
It's a college football award.
It's a college football award. Dad, stop, Dad. You're embarrassing me.
I think you're going to kick yourself after this one. You know it, Rue?
Oh, it's Dion.
Yes,
it
has
to be Dion.
It is Dion. Coughed up a 29-point lead, biggest collapse in school history, in a 46-43 loss to Stanford in double OT. The team has holes. We've known this. First year in a massive overhaul. Can't run the football. Can't stop the pass. It's the ultimate recipe for exactly what happened to happen. So it makes perfect sense. Again, not an indictment on Dion. It is what it is. They're still rebuilding. But Dad, You're Embarrassing Me award. Thought it was pretty fitting there.
It is, yeah. It's so I would say the Dion thing. It's not an indictment on his ability as a coach, but it is like it's a moment where you're like, dude, like, what are you doing? We've been through this. Like, you're supposed to learn from this happening already, and not do the same things.
That's fair. I just don't think they can.
Now, talent-wise, I agree. It's just like, and these are things that he's going to learn coaching at this level for the first time. That's a good award.
Thank you.
My first award is the Brandon Staley Award.
This is going to a person that is actively holding... Is it Desmond Ridder?
It's not Desmond Ridder,
it's
no.
actively holding their team back. Is that the right criteria?
You're pretty close. So it's somebody who they've had this issue for quite a while. In Brandon Staley's case, he was the DC when in LA for the Rams when he got hired, and since he has been with the Chargers, their defense has been pathetic.
Oh, it's Lincoln Riley?
Yes, nice. Yeah. No matter how many resources they've devoted to it, it has not improved at all across his entire tenure. And you're right, this one is going to Lincoln Riley. Actually, believe it or not, that award was going to Dion for the same mistakes costing over and over. But
Did you just audible?
I changed it on my way here.
Wow. I think it's more fitting with
What?
with Lincoln Riley.
I think
it's
so,
more
yeah.
apples to apples.
I think so, yeah.
Luckily, I remember my award because my iPad died for the 5th time today. This charger is worthless. My second award is the Space Jam Award.
Okay, is this going to somebody whose talent was stolen from them?
No, but I wish I'd used it for that. No, this is for someone that legitimately looks like a monster.
Is this Jalen Carter?
No, it's a NBA award.
Legitimately. Oh, it's got to be the ridiculous Michael Jordan in Space Jam-esque Wemby dunk.
It is. It's not. Well, yes, it is. The Wemby, that dunk specifically inspired it, but the guy literally looks like he's a different breed out there.
Yeah.
He is. So the dunk we're referring to was over Thomas Bryant the other day. It was a video I sent in our group chat. He is well outside the restricted area when he jumps, and he dunks it so effortlessly. And he did this multiple times throughout the game where he's catching passes and dunking them that literally no other person on planet Earth could dunk. It's Thomas Bryant, the guy who looked awestruck after this dunk, is, I think, at 6'9", I think I had, 6'9 plus. A physical specimen himself.
With somewhat extensive playoff experience.
With, let's say, somewhat extensive playoff experience.
Let's say that.
Let's say that.
I wish I had.
And he's played against the highest level of competition, played with LeBron, has played against these people his entire life.
Played with Jokic, right, too?
Yeah, no, maybe not. May not have played with Jokic, but he's played against these people his entire life. The top of the top, cream of the crop athletes. And Wemby dunked on his head, and he looked like he saw a ghost. Couldn't even comprehend that a man had dunked over him because
He didn't know what was going on.
no other person could ever do that. That is how insane this guy is. Anyone who still doesn't believe in him is nuts. Now it unlocked. Now I can get these stats for you. He in preseason, it's obviously in only 2 games, so it's very small sample size, but he's averaging 21.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, a steal, and 1.5 threes in only 21 minutes a game. He's averaging 21.5 points per game in 21 minutes a game.
What do you expect him to play, like 35?
No, he's probably not up to 35.
28?
Yeah, 28 to 30, I would imagine. I don't think he'll be averaging 21.5 in 21 minutes a game. I think it'll probably be 23 or 24 in 28, just because he's a rookie and I think they'll want to protect him. But, God, he's just unbelievable, dude. If you haven't watched him play, you have to. He is out of this world, and I don't even feel corny saying it. It's insane, dude. I can't even wrap my head around it. I watched his highlights this morning, and I was sitting there like cartoon jaw dropping like through
Johnny
the floor.
Bravo jaw.
Yeah, that was me. Actively Johnny Bravo jaw. Crazy. The craziest things I've ever seen.
So my second award it's the Nick Saban Award, but it's specifically Nick Saban just before he took the job at Alabama. I'm not thrilled with my name for this award.
Nick Saban, where was he before Alabama?
He was at Miami, and they were consistently asking him if he was going to become the Alabama head coach, and he was
Miami?
He was denying it. No, the Dolphins.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's more surrounded, or it's more tied to the I will not be the Alabama head coach than the national championships that followed after that.
It's not Brian Kelly, right?
No, it's not going to a coach, actually. It's going to somebody who, in a press conference, said what was going to happen with their football program, and then it was a flat-out lie.
I don't know.
This is going to Bears GM Ryan Poles, who in his introductory press conference said, we're going to take the North, meaning the NFC North that they're a member of, and never give it back. With yesterday's loss over the Minnesota Vikings, the Bears have yet to win a division game since he said that.
Damn it, dude. That's such a good award. I wish you're right, not your best name.
No.
There was just no way I could have gotten it. That was so good. That's crazy. They haven't won a single division game?
No.
Wow. That's hilarious, dude. That's such a good award. It's almost like a LeBron-esque lie.
Literally,
all right. You want to move on to the bold prediction of the year?
Yes.
What the heck, Ed? I set you up for it. You're supposed to say of the week.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Been building up for this.
I got distracted. Sorry.
Jesus. You set me up for it every time. Finally, I cue you up perfectly, tee you up, and you just leave me here. Of the week.
Wait, no, do it again. Do it again.
No, I don't want to do it again.
All right.
Fine. Bold prediction of the year.
Of the week.
I did not endorse that drum roll.
No, but it's up to you if you want to leave it in or not.
You give your bold prediction first.
My bold prediction is surrounding this weekend's Ohio State versus Penn State contest.
Do you pick Penn State?
No.
Oh.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to set the Ohio State single game receiving yards record in a loss to Penn State.
Oh. So you kind of are picking Penn State.
I only added that in the last second.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to break the record?
Yes.
Receiving yards? What is it? Do you know?
It is. I know Jackson Smith and Jigba has it, and it's over 300 yards.
Okay, so that's far more bold than mine. My bold prediction of the year of the week is that Trevor Lawrence is going to play Thursday night. That's not the bold part. He's having a knee issue, but he's going to against the Saints, for those who don't know, and he's going to have one of the best games of his young career. I'm talking 350-plus passing yards, 3-plus passing touchdowns, maybe a rushing touchdown if he's feeling it. Saints defense is really good. So there's no reason behind this.
Any turnovers?
No.
Okay.
Producer who said no out of the corner of my eye. So no turnovers. Or if he doesn't play, because it's very possible, Puka Nacua 150-plus receiving yards.
Okay.
Against the Steelers.
The Jackson Smith and Jigba in the Rose Bowl at 347. So my prediction is Marvin Harrison Jr. will have a Trevor Lawrence passing yards kind of game through the air.
Man, if both of these come true, it'd be great. Yeah. I don't think I've even been close yet. You were right. You were sort of right.
Yeah, I think
right.
I know he got almost right.
I saw him get a snap, but he handed it off.
Cunningham?
Yeah.
I won't count that.
I know. You said it's got to be multiple snaps.
Yeah.
But he was active, which was kind of the big hurdle.
He got signed, not just promoted.
3 years, right?
Deal,
yeah. So we were right.
I could have been a week off.
Maybe. And I don't even remember what mine was wrong. Yeah, mine was wrong. Eagles. Mine was the Eagles. Yeah. It looked good for a minute, but yeah, nope. I guess that's why they're bold, but you were right week one, first time we did it.
I think so.
And we have been chasing that high ever since, man. I just can't get it.
Cool. Good episode.
Good episode. So, yeah, I'll tell you guys where to find us. So, I don't know if we'll try it out. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, because we're everywhere. But also, make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, no longer Twitter. I've been calling it Twitter. Now the algorithm's going to help us out.
Oh, sweet.
And make sure you check us out on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. And we have a big giveaway coming up soon. I'm going to post it, and I got to make it first. It's going to be a Jason Dominguez mini helmet. To enter, you got to subscribe to us on YouTube. All of YouTube subscribers are eligible to enter. And if you follow us on Instagram after the time it is posted, you gain an additional entry. All that's going to say that on the post if you don't know what I'm talking about. Jason Dominguez, autographed mini helmet. Follow us, like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. That's how you enter. See you next week.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Producer Rue. Thank you, Mikey Caps. Again, I'm Adam Hartog. This is the Breaks Down Podcast.